I want to talk to you about the law of success for health and nutrition podcasters. So if you are in that niche, I want you to watch this show from A to Z because I'll be sharing with you some tips, some tricks, and some hacks. Okay. So here are the generalities I want you to pay attention to. So if you are interested in health and nutrition, you have to understand that this is a 75 to 100 billion dollar industry at the podcast level. The health industry itself is a $1 trillion industry, but the podcast part of it is a literally $100 billion market. So that's huge. Okay, that's really huge. And when you think about the nutrition podcasting, when you think about health podcasting, when you think about fitness podcasting, I want you to think about an industry that's constantly shifting, that's constantly evolving. I mean, audiences have shifting demands. Okay, the economy is actually imposing new strategies, new routines. So you have a very evolving industry. So if you are going to be a successful nutrition, health, or fitness podcaster, you have to understand that you have to adapt to changing times. Okay, and you are actually you are able to do so because if you think about your audience is willing to listen to you as long as you are adding value. So if you want to, let's say you want to start, for instance, a nutrition podcast, make sure you are constantly adding value. You're constantly bringing value to the table. If you are going to have a health podcast, same thing. Okay, same thing for fitness. So it really depends on the niche that you are in. But once you have chosen your niche, you have to work hard at extending your reach, establishing your authority, building community, thinking about personal branding, and diversifying also your fitness or health or nutrition podcast. It's all about making sure that you are adding value, you are educating, you are inspiring. If you want to really attract a huge followership, that's actually the basic ingredients you need to think about. Constantly think about adding value, adding value, adding value, adding value, and you have to do so all the time. So, what's the law of success for nutrition and health podcasters this year? The first thing you want to do here, if you want to start a successful nutrition, fitness, or health podcast, is to develop an idea. See, the whole thing is that your idea is going to be the foundation for your health or nutrition podcast. That's what's going to help you develop let's say, have an angle, for instance, about the topic you want to talk about. Okay, health is it's a very large, it's a very wide topic. So the more, I mean, you don't have to really to restrict yourself, but you got to really have a specific conceptual framework. Otherwise, you'll be confusing your listeners. Okay, so develop an idea. So you got to come up with a compelling idea if you want to reap the full benefits of starting a nutrition or health podcast. After all, you will not drive conversions and sales if you're speaking to no one. Okay, especially if you are actually you're trying to really address everybody at the same time. It's not going to work. So be focused and talk to a specific group. Okay, so to ensure that your health or nutrition podcast hits the right notes, you want to ask yourself a few questions. For instance, what topics and themes will you address? Try to come up with concepts and audience questions. Okay, that can apply to everyday lives. For instance, what are your competitors doing? I mean, how will you differentiate yourself in a very competitive health and nutrition podcasting niche? Okay, and also, is your concept broad enough? Are you likely to run out of ideas after the first couple of episodes? That's an important element to think about because, of course, I'm a big fan of niching down, but you got to make sure the niche is decent enough so that you have what I call intellectual agility. You have intellectual agility. You are able to really diversify your content and not feel boring after a while. Because otherwise, if you're boring, basically your audience will just leave you. They will leave your show. So you have to constantly bring new stuff to the table. Okay. So discover your unique angle in the health, nutrition, or fitness industry, and define also your target audience. That's going to be very important. The second law of success for nutrition or health or fitness podcasters is to really think about the format. So, if you want to really exist as a host, your format is going to be an important element for you. Now, you do not, when it comes to health and fitness or just let's say, nutrition in general, you do not want to have 15 minutes conversations. You want to have long conversations because people care about their health. Everybody cares about their health. At least they should care about their health. Okay. So people want to have like 30 minutes, 1 hour, like deep, long conversations, value adding conversations that people can really take something from. Okay. Remember, people will be listening to your health or fitness podcast, maybe in the subway, maybe in the bus going to work, for instance, or while driving to while driving and being stuck in the tunnel, for instance. So the whole idea here is to actually add value. Okay. So when it comes to defining, not defining, considering your format, you got to really ask yourself: do you want to do solo? Do you want to do panel discussions? Do you want to do group discussions? Do you want to do interview? What do you want? What are you trying to achieve? Okay, that's important to understand because that's going to structure the format, the format of your nutrition podcast, your health podcast, your fitness podcast. You also need to think about the name of your podcast. Make sure that you actually find something catchy and obviously related to the fitness slash nutrition slash health industry, right? You want something to be catchy, but also very inspirational. What I call inspirational. But if you need help, let me know in the comment section. I can certainly help you, and we have tools in place to actually help you come up with names actually. And you also need to think about your artwork. So think about if you want to be a successful nutrition podcast or podcaster or health podcaster or fitness podcaster. Think about your artwork and think about what your description will look like. Okay, your artwork and description will help drive listener numbers. So do not neglect them. So design artwork that includes your logo and the name of your show, ensuring that it will stand out on mobile devices. And for your description, try to summarize your podcast in 150 characters and you want to weave in some searchable keywords. So that's important. And also, please don't forget to understand that you have to constantly speak to your audience. So choose names, you want to write a description that can resonate with your target audience, your target listeners. The third law of success for nutrition podcasters, for fitness podcasters, for health podcasters is to actually think about developing a content calendar. So a content calendar is going to help you big time, especially if you're trying to really speak to a specific target audience. Let's say you are speaking about very sensitive health issues and you want to really sensitize. You want to really bring awareness to a specific cause, to a specific condition, for instance. So if you have a content calendar, or let's say a content strategy, that's kind of cool. So when I say content calendar, this can be a preliminary or just a funnel, okay? But I think you should start with a preliminary content calendar and see how your audience reacts to it, because your audience might like it or they might not like it. So you have to tweak things based on the feedback you're getting from the market, from the industry, from your listeners. Okay, so try to think of a diverse range of topics relevant to your client base, and remember, do plenty of research. So if you are creating a solo show in which you pitch yourself as a health or a fitness or nutrition expert, you want to research and present your findings in the same way a writer will write a blog post. If interviews or panels are more your thing, remember to research your guest or topic and organize a list of dynamic questions to ask, okay? And think about developing a content strategy. So, content is actually the heart and soul of your podcast. Remember that. So, as a health podcaster, as a nutrition podcaster, as a fitness podcaster, you are no stranger to planning and organizing. Qualities that are equally important when creating podcast content. Okay, so consider actually a variety of formats, such as solo episodes where you share your knowledge. Okay, interviews with other industry professionals, for instance. You can have panel discussions. You can have Q&A sessions. Also, whatever works for your audience. You can also have discussions about the latest trends and research about fitness, about nutrition, about healthcare in general. So, a well-rounded content strategy keeps your podcast engaging and your audience coming back for more. You also want to differentiate your podcast episodes. So that's important because otherwise, your audience will feel bored. So make sure that your unique selling proposition sets you apart from other podcasts in the healthcare sector, making your show appealing to listeners in a very crowded marketplace. Okay, that's an important element to think about. So you want to source the equipment needed to start a podcast. So if you want to do a very successful nutrition slash health podcast, the equipment is going to be very quintessential for you. And this is another law of success for nutrition podcasters because the equipment is going to be the foundation of your podcast in the long run. So every health and nutrition podcaster needs a PC, but also other stuff. For instance, USB or XLR microphone. Okay, so this is very important because around 33% of podcasters use USB microphones because they tend to deliver high quality sound at a very affordable price. However, you may wish to shop around for other options. Think about internet access. So a strong connection will ensure your recording is smooth and glitch free. Think about headphones. So this is important. Okay, so wearing headphones will make the editing process easier as they allow you to listen to playback as you record. You have mic stands, so this could not actually this could include a floor stand, a desk stand, or a boom arm. Think about a mixer. So this will help you combine audio signals. Although you only about half of podcasters use mixers. Think about a digital recorder. So, although you may wish to record via computer software, a separate digital recorder could improve your audio quality. So, bottom line is you want to invest in the right equipment and software for your nutrition slash fitness slash healthcare podcast. Okay. So, professional sounding audio is a non negotiable aspect of podcasting in general. Okay. So, think about that. And what I want to say is that essential podcasting equipment includes a high quality microphone, headphones, and potentially a pop filter or audio interface. So, as for software, you need to have a reliable editing tool to piece together your podcast episodes, all the episodes, and hosting platform to publish your podcast for the world to hear. So, that's kind of cool. And the thing is, you have to do this for every single episode. Another law of success for nutrition podcasters or fitness podcasters or health podcasters is to actually record and edit your podcast. Okay, and this is actually the nitty. Now this has to do with the nitty gritty of the work you have to do. So basically, once you schedule and once your schedule and equipment are in place, you can start recording your shows. And but of course, you have to do research about the topic you will be discussing, making sure that your nutrition slash health slash fitness podcast is not boring or is not ill researched. It has to be well researched. Okay, and so what you want to do is you want to really run a few tests beforehand to help you get to grips with your recording tech. And you should also send advanced reminders to contributors about recording sessions to ensure that you stay on schedule. Okay, because the thing is that healthcare is a very sensitive topic that a lot of folks care about, if not everybody cares about. So make sure that your team, your podcast team, is really is actually they're able to stay on schedule. So once your raw material is recorded, you can edit the content with software such as Audacity, Adobe Audition, GarageBand, or even Logic Pro X. I've actually covered all of those software on other shows. So if you are new to the world of editing, you may wish to outsource the job because it can be time consuming. It is actually time consuming. So you record and edit your podcast, okay? I mean, as the podcast host, you are the primary conduit of information and energy on your podcast. So pay careful attention to your voice's clarity, emotion, and tone when recording, okay? And post recording, editing is vital for a polished final product. So, editing allows you to remove any errors, unnecessary silences, and ensure the flow of every podcast episode. So, if you're looking for another law of success for nutrition podcasters or fitness podcasters or health podcasters, is it has to do with let's say hosting. It has to do with archiving. Okay, so you want to find somewhere to host and store your podcast, your healthcare podcast. Okay, I mean there are plenty of affordable podcast hosting services out there, including Zencast, Buzzsprout, and Spreaker, and each of which offers great features such as analytics tracking and voice mixing tools. So once hosted, you can actually post your podcast to your site and submit it to several platforms, including Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify. Okay, so actually recommend that you submit to your work to as many platforms as possible, because the more places where you appear, the more people actually are likely to listen to your podcast. You have to choose the right distribution channels. Okay, very important. So once you record your podcast, your nutrition, fitness, or health podcast, you want to get into the ear of listeners. So when you think about distribution channels, you have a few of them. You have to make sure that they are actually compatible with your audience. So you have Apple Podcasts, you have Spotify, you have Google Podcasts, you have Stitcher, and then you have other platforms. So when you think about Apple Podcasts, think about one of the most widely used podcast platforms. So this is kind of important. And Stitcher is actually pretty interesting because this is another excellent channel for podcast distribution this year. That's really cool. And what I want to also, the last law of success that you have to think about is to promote your podcast. So if you want to promote your health or nutrition podcast, okay, because the thing is that you want to dedicate time to promote your show through a variety of channels. Capturing listeners is very similar to attracting blog post readers, a skill with which most marketers will be very comfortable. So possible options include posting episodes to social media. So this is an instant winner if you already have a large following. Appearing on other podcasts. So if you're an expert on a fitness or health or a similar sort of topic, why not appear as a guest on a relevant topic? Just remember to plug your own show at some point during the recording. You can also promote your show via email or SMS, okay? And you can encourage listeners to like, subscribe, and spread the word. So you can also think about creating a podcast. You are able to create your podcast brand, if you will, okay? So you have a clear idea, but just keep in mind that you have to engage your audience on a consistent basis. Consistency is really key in this industry, big time. So thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I actually shared with you the law of success for nutrition, fitness, or health podcasters. So I gave you the generalities, the law of success, and finally the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.